now we're going to move on to another bit of one of Claire's questions, which is this issue which is already brought up by Mike and reflected speed. We've got this rush to more speed in qual, we've got this rush to more speed in quant. How do we balance rigour with speed, quality with interpretation, science with art? What is the right balance? So let's start with Becky, because rigour is quite an interesting concept in the area of some of your research. It exists, but it's different than in Paul's research.
It's true. I think some people assume that ethnographic projects take a long time. They don't necessarily. I think one of the challenges about doing behavioural research is it combines. There's a huge amount of data. So in a depth interview, the data is necessarily bounded by the time of the depth interview. In a survey, you can have a spreadsheet with all your answers very neatly compartmentalised. In ethnographic research, you've got what the person said, but you've also got all of the context, all of the influences, all of their behaviour, all of the things that they didn't say. So the time it takes to go through that data, it does take time. But I think, for me personally, our clients recognise that if they want something quick, we're honest that you won't necessarily yield the full value of your research. So we're totally transparent about that. If you want us to deliver the next day, fine. But often we're finding more and more that they do want us to deliver the next day because there's a strategic priority for them to do that. But they're happy to wait for something else that you deliver a little bit later on that ensures that the value of the investment of the research is not lost just purely because they have this deadline that they have to meet. So I think it's about being honest about where the trade-offs are that you get from the time limitations, but also being flexible. We're a business, we have to be flexible and work according to our client's business. You can't turn down work because you don't think it's going to be as good, but you can try and help people to get the most they can from the investment.
So Paul, speed or quality?
I genuinely think this is one of the most frightening questions that faces us, and we as a quant outfit and in at TNS where I was before, to some extent you can automate. You can automate things such that you give the maximum amount of thinking time to the thinking people. It isn't really an answer to the question because it doesn't really do it. And I think this is an area where potentially the experienced independent has an advantage, because I think we will rely more on intuition. And I think you have to be able to be absolutely in the moment. You have to really, as you do with ethnographic stuff, I think you have to take the same kind of, dare I even call it, a blink approach to quantify data and actually say, if we're going to have to do this quickly, we are going to have to really soak it up, really understand it, and really use intuition. And yes, there'll be hypotheses, yes, there'll be checking later, but intuition is going to play a big part in solving this dilemma. Big frightener for me.
Now, Mike, one of the things that clients will often say on this sort of topic is, it's okay, we only want you to be 80% right, but if it's the 1 in 5 times it's wrong, they go bananas. So how do we balance this speed and rigour?
I'm not sure you can.
Good.
I really don't think you can. It is, the cost of speed quality triangle is one of those eternal truths of life, and there will always be tension between them. I had sort of two answers in my head. One of which was get used to it. Everything's fast. Get used to it, which is sort of the tough love approach. But the other one is actually simply a symptom of crap clients. If anybody is stupid enough to say on a Thursday by email at 4:45, I'd quite like the answer. Can you give me a market sizing for the giga net worth individual market in the Middle East? And I'd like it by Monday morning, 10 o'clock, because I have a board meeting at 11. If anybody's stupid enough to ask that, or ask even basically, could you run a couple of groups over the weekend for me? Yeah. They actually deserve what they get, and you deserve to put in a very, very fat invoice, of which the speed is one of your multiplying factors. I do think that one of the the answer to many questions is actually client behaviour. And I say that to my peers as well. That, they're driven, and actually you don't have to understand why they're behaving like that.
The only thing I'd say to that, Mike, I'm sure people in the room have got it, we'll come there in just 1 second, is that those 2 requests that you highlighted coming through on a Thursday afternoon would not be for Monday. They would be for Friday.
I was trying to give a sense of, yes, I know. Yes.
I'm just surprised that you seem to think that speed is suddenly a big thing, because in 25 years of qualitative research, I've always had clients who have wanted work, commissioned it on a Thursday, please do the groups Sunday and Monday and debrief it on Tuesday. And they've always been there, and there's generally a reason why they want it that quickly, and we worked through the night to do it, so that we tried not to compromise on quality.
Can I say, often the highest profit margin jobs that one can do,
Well, that's
great
also-
sometimes.
yes.
It's a blessing in disguise, isn't it, when you only have a limited amount of time to do a piece of work?
So just to come back on why I think this really is that, yes, there's always been the 24-hour, 48, 72-hour turnaround time, always. What I see, though, is projects which you would ordinarily say, whether you're a buyer or a seller of research, where you'd say this is a 3 or a 6 month job. Yeah, the organisational tolerance for that waiting is diminishing rapidly. So 6 month projects I can't have in 2. It's that turnaround, and I still want 24 countries done, and I still want it in the local language. Oh, and I still want to be able to break it down afterwards, so your sample size has to be a certain thing, but I just want it done in a third of the time.
But on the quantitative side, of course, it has reduced anyway, because by doing online quantitative research, that is a lot quicker than doing traditional sort of face-to-face
And
interviews.
the online stuff has influenced hugely client expectations for what you might call, no offence to online gurus, proper research, as you were saying earlier, good hardcore, proper sort of old-fashioned methodology stuff. And to link it to something else, one reason why online stuff has been such an influence is the way in which the DIY stuff people in their everyday lives. The worst thing as a client you have is an executive that comes along and says, I was just doing one of those online survey jobbies the other day. Can we do that sort of thing? And could I have the answers tomorrow?
Jenna, is one of the problems with the speed, and I think we all take the point that there have always been some clients who want speed, but is one of the problems for independence with speed that it's much easier for a company to say, I need this fast, I'm going to go to Luna, or I'm going to go to one of the big agencies who's got a panel company, who's got a field force, who's got qual teams, and I will go to 6 of them and say, one of you quote, whereas if I go to independents, I've got to find them, and I've got to go to maybe 12 or 20 to get somebody who's got the right capacity.
I don't know the answer to that. I think most indies are very easy to get hold of. I think when I was working as a planner, you actually knew the people who were available, who could do work quickly and could actually do a good job. So in a sense, there are always clients who require that. So I suppose they almost get into, they will know who can deliver, and that gets around. I think you get a reputation for being able to deliver things quickly, and I guess that's it's not something I would turn work away if I felt that I wasn't going to be able to do a quality job.
Do you think that it's got worse, the proportion of people wanting it fast? Because my observation is,
I think
of course,
for
there's
what?
always been
For
there.
quants.
Well, for both. But in group discussions now, how many times do you get, oh, we'll all come to the final group and we'll just sit down then and decide what we'll do? No,
That's
that's
always been the same.
But has it always been the same? I didn't
Yeah,
buy
I
like that.
Well, some people
decision.
Yeah, so if it's to make a quick decision, then it doesn't matter whether you spend 48 hours, people have made up their mind from seeing the groups that they've got to see.
Okay, coming back there, then we're going to move on.
Yeah, just as a rejoinder,
Yeah.
Paul. You see, I don't think it has got worse.
Okay.
My experience is, but mine is qualitative. There's always been, give us the top line the next day, and then we'll give you the debrief, but we've already made our decisions and done it. And I would say that's generally how it's always been.
Okay.
Very quick supplementary. I think where it's got worse is in the past we had to do the next day, but we also had to write that awful report, which was where we put all that analysis time in as well. That's probably gone.
I think most people still want something in their file, so you still...
I would just say that is now a real minority of the vote that I see. We've got two hands immediately jumped up as soon as you had to write the report. How many, just before we go to the two hands, how many people have written a 20-page report this year as part of a debrief?
You mean sentences and paragraphs?
Yes, yeah,
in-
sentences and paragraphs. That would set you apart from all the big agencies, where this number, you would see a really tiny number. Now we had a hand there and a hand there.
No, yes, there's always been a need for speed. So what's increasingly happening is that the client's coming along to all the groups. And so they're telling you what they think the results are before you actually have a chance to put your own thoughts together.
Yeah.
And when you disagree with them, God help you.
Because that woman said that.
Yeah.
It's okay if they go to all the groups, and they come to just the last group or the first group.
Yeah, in the
That's
group
much more of a problem.
Okay, you just say the
I
floor.
think one of the advantages of being an independent, not working in a corporate hierarchy, is that you have or you should have the ability to say to your client, this is either a very straightforward issue, and I will be able to give you an answer shortly after the groups and the interviews, so I can do it quickly, because it's not that complicated, and I don't need elaborate. The report art is fine. Or alternatively, this is actually quite complicated. I can give you a superficial answer, but you're going to have to wait for the real deal. And if you know your business, and if you've done enough work in a particular field, you can have this discussion about problems. It's much more difficult if you work in a hierarchy, where you've got an account director who's done a deal with the client, and you simply got to execute it, and it's your job to deliver. And that's also true if you happen to be an independent working for that large organisation. So I think the independent has an advantage, which is sometimes the advantage of the client, provided the independent has got nerve to act in that way.
Right, I'm going to jump directions quite significantly.